This is a good ball played in for Tony Morley. Oh, he missed it! It is! Peter Will! Villa in the lead!
Hello, good evening, Aston Villa fans, and welcome to the Villa Forever podcast. I am your host, Chad Williams. Please subscribe. Make sure to give me a follow, and you can follow me on Spotify, Apple, and Amazon Music. Let's spread awareness of Duchenne muscular dystrophy. This evening, I am joined by my special guest, Kevin Gage. He was a former Aston Villa defender and midfielder who played for the club from 1987 to 1991. He spent 4 years in the football club. He made 115 appearances and he scored 8 goals. Kevin made 400 appearances in the Football League and Premier League as well. He played for many clubs, including Sheffield United, Wimbledon, Preston North End, and Hull City. Kevin has previously been on Justin Hawthorne's show, and Justin talked to him a few weeks ago. And before we get into this interview, I'll say well done to Aston Villa last night, getting their first pre-season victory against St. Louis City FC, which it's a good start to pre-season in the US. Kevin, it's great to have another ex-footballer on the show. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, Chad. Thanks for inviting me on. Always good to speak to the fans.
I've been really looking forward to this interview all week.
Well, I'm very flattered, to be honest. It's nice to be invited.
Yeah. And you're another addition to my guest list.
Yeah, that's all good.
I've had so many over the years.
That's good to hear, mate.
So let's get into this interview then. So, was you born into a football family?
Oh, well, not really. No, I wouldn't call it a football family at all. It was quite weird, actually, because I was born in London, but we moved out to the countryside in Surrey at a very early age. I was about 3 or 4. And so I had no football teams around me. The nearest football team to me growing up as a kid was Aldershot, and that was probably 15, 20 miles away. So I never used to watch football at all, only on the TV, like everybody else, like big match and match of the day. I never used to go to professional football games because my dad worked on a Saturday as well. And obviously, if you remember back in the days, those 1970s, there was no football on Sundays or Friday night or Sunday afternoon, just Saturday at 3 o'clock. So there's no way of getting to any games. So I didn't really. I followed football and I watched football and I enjoyed football, but it wasn't as if I was going to football matches. And we certainly weren't a football family by any stretch of the imagination.
And Surrey as well. I mean, Surrey. I've never been before, but it's a lovely place in the countryside.
Yeah, it's the commuter belt, really. I mean, it's grown. I live in a town called Addlestone, if anybody knows the area. Addlestone, and in between Addlestone and Woking, and there was non-league sides to go and watch. But again, it wasn't something that I did as a kid. As I say, I just used to play football for the school and the district and the county, and watch football on TV. And being a professional footballer never kind of entered my head, because it was like something that happened to other people. And you know, clubs these days, they take youngsters on 6 years old, 7 years old, 8
Starts
years.
from a very young age.
Yeah, so that never happened to me, and it wasn't a thing back then either. There was a few of my district players and county players, my teammates, who used to go and train with Chelsea and QPR and Brentford and a few other teams, but it never happened to me. I never got invited. I didn't think it was a thing. You know, I was gonna just be a PE teacher. That was my school plan.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to do: go to university and be a PE teacher.
So how did you go down the football race?
Yeah, so it happened very, very quickly. So I was playing for my Sunday league side, and just a regular league game, a Sunday morning, a Sunday afternoon, whatever it was. And a Wimbledon FC scout happened to be there, liked the look of me, and found out who my dad was, who was standing watching me, and asked my dad whether I was playing for anybody and would I like to come training. And we kind of said, yeah, all right then. You know, he's not doing anything. So my dad had to drive me from Surrey up to Wimbledon, which was about 45 minutes once a week. And I just started training with the youth team at Wimbledon. And then when I got offered what is now a YTS or whatever they call it, but I was offered an apprenticeship back then. And I actually turned it down when I was offered the apprenticeship because, as I say, I was going to go to university and take my A levels and be a PE teacher. So I kind of thought, well, it's only Wimbledon, you know. They had just got into the league. They were a 4th division club, a League 2 club as it is now, and I wasn't getting too excited about it, to be honest. It's not like signing for Arsenal, is it, or Chelsea?
Well, look at the 80s. The 90s, known as the Crazy Gang.
Later on, yeah, but when I first joined, this was back in 1980. I just left school, and they were you know, they'd been in the league 2 years. So as I say, I wasn't getting carried away, and actually turned it down, the apprenticeship. It was only after a couple of months later when me and my dad just thought we had a discussion. We thought, oh, we'll give it a go and see how it goes. If it doesn't work out, you can always go back to uni. So I kind of got into football by default.
Because in football, I think, from a young age, it takes a lot of commitment and dedication.
Yeah, obviously, when you leave school and it's like a job, it's a proper apprenticeship. So you got 2 years as an apprentice footballer. There was only 2 of us as well that year. I mean, these days there's about 20, 30 YTS lads, isn't there? But there was 2 of us. As I say, at a small club called Wimbledon. And I think I actually benefited from that because rather than being one of 20 under 16, under 17 players, I was introduced into the reserves, and then because I was good enough, into the first team at quite an early age, and it kind of brought me on footballer. It made me grow up very quickly, and
I think it's good to get
got more physical very quickly. And I was
integrated.
Yeah, it was. We trained with the reserves and with the first team a lot, even though we were still youngsters. So as I say, as you can appreciate, it makes you grow up very quickly, and you have to stand on your own 2 feet and look after yourself. And I just progressed very quickly. I got into the first team squad in my very first year as a 16-year-old. I was on the bench for Wimbledon at 16, and I actually made my debut just a few days after my 17th birthday.
That's amazing.
From a very late start, having joined them at 15, you know, a year and a half later, I was kind of one of the first team squad and pushing for a first team place, which is quite weird.
Yeah. And not many people, not footballers, make it. Like, you have to be really good to make it. And also, you got the break that you needed.
Yeah, the dropout rate is quite high because, as I say, they take on so many kids in the hope that, you know, 1, 2, 3 will come through in any 1 year. So, you know, I wasn't fantastically brilliant at school. I was good at football, but I didn't think I was anything special. But I think I was a late developer, and I definitely got a bit stronger and a bit quicker and a bit more streetwise quite early on. Which allowed me to, you know, to play all those games for Wimbledon all those years. So it was a great upbringing. It's not the traditional way to make your Premier League and the top division. But it was a really good kind of upbringing and a good introduction to professional football. And I learned so much and had a great time at Wimbledon.
And being so young, did you feel a lot of pressure?
No, not at all. Not at all. There was it was when you're young. When you're young, you don't feel pressure, do you? There was you just go out and play. You've got your whole life ahead of you. And what also helped my career big style at Wimbledon is because after a little bit of consolidation for a couple of years, we went on this remarkable run of 3 promotions in 4 years. So we literally went from the old 4th division all the way through to the Premier League, First Division as it was then, Premier League as it is now, into the top division in 4 years. That's 3
Come on, wait,
with
4 years.
With a very similar group of players. We added a few players along the way, but there was a really good group of young players, of which I was one, plus these senior players already there. And we just got on this roller coaster ride with Wimbledon and just like stormtrooped through the divisions, as you were.
But over time as well, but you developed your game.
Yeah, but my as I say, you have to grow up very quickly. When you're 16, 17 years old, 19 years old, playing against seasoned professionals who've been in the lower leagues all through their careers. You know, they know the game, they know what's needed, and you have to learn very quickly. You have to learn to look after yourself in the lower leagues. You have to learn, what you're going to get away with. Fortunately, I've got decent techniques, and I was quick enough and fast enough and skillful enough to hold my own. Even though you might get battered and kicked about occasionally, but you just have to sink or swim and thrown in at the deep end kind of thing. But we were a decent side, and we caused a lot of problems for people, and we had a lot of ability in the side, and we hit on this style of play as well, which was a bit very direct and quite physical. And it worked wonders for us, and we were very, very successful.
Come on, you got to learn and adapt to it.
People think it was a bit ungainly and a bit rough and ready, but there was a lot of thought and tactics went into it, and we all knew what we were doing. It wasn't just a case of kick and rush, boot the ball up front. It was all structured, and we knew where people were running, where the forwards were.
You knew your job.
Exactly, yeah. You have to know your job in whatever style of football you're playing, whether it be Unai Emery's, first team players, international players. You have to know your job in the team. They don't go out there and make it up off the cuff. You need some kind of structure, and that's what we had at Wimbledon. And everybody bought into it. We all knew our jobs, and we knew that if we didn't do our jobs the way the manager wanted us to play, then we wouldn't be in the team. So we would go along with it because we were winning football matches and we were being successful.
Yeah. But then we touched on it slightly. So how did your footballing career start? You were actually the youngest ever player to play for Wimbledon.
Yeah, well, as I say, I was a sub at 16. I didn't get on though. And this is the days when there was only one sub. So a couple of weeks later, the manager gave me a game, and I used to be a midfielder back in those days. So I was a midfield player, and I got my first game in midfield. Yeah, for Wimbledon at just after 17, and I'm still the youngest player ever to play for Wimbledon, actually. And I always tell people, because that record will never ever be beaten. Because there's no team called Wimbledon FC anymore. Because as everybody knows, they know the story.
Yeah.
That merged. Well, it didn't merge. They were taken over by AFC, by Milton Keynes Dons, and they folded as a team and recreated as AFC Wimbledon. So yeah, that record will stay forever.
Yeah, you're in the record books.
Yeah, bit weird.
What do you prefer, like defence or midfield when you was playing?
Well, I was always a midfield player. All through my school days, I was a midfield player. Wimbledon early days, I was a midfield player, and I played I played for England youth as well as a midfield player. I went to the Youth World Cup in Australia in 1981 as a midfield player. And it was only the way, because of the style that Wimbledon played, that I was converted to a fullback. Because if you're playing a bit more direct and a bit more long ball, sometimes the midfield gets bypassed. So because I had decent technique and I was a decent footballer, Dave Bassett wanted me at right back to be able to deliver the ball, directly and accurately into the channels for our forwards and our wingers to run onto, and obviously to get forward and get crosses in when I could. So I was happy to make the change because, as I say, we were successful, and I just wanted to still be a part of it. I could have thrown my toys out of the pram and said, no, I want to play midfield. But if I was going to be in the team and if we were going to be successful, I was going to do the job for the team. So I was from the age of about, I don't know, 19, 20, I just moved into midfield, and I was known as moved into right back, and I was known as a right back. Hence, the transfer to Villa in 1987.
And also, you was versatile.
Yeah, because I was a midfielder, I could kind of use both feet as well. So although I said predominantly I'm right-footed, I was okay on my left foot. So if there was a problem all through my career, I would sometimes get switched across the left back or left side midfield. So I was comfortable doing both, to be honest. So it was, but as I say, I'm predominantly right-footed. That was my strongest one.
Yeah, so on to the next question, eh? So how would you sum up your time during playing for the Crazy Gang, Wimbledon, and what was it like playing with Vinnie Jones?
Oh, Vinnie Jones. Every time the Crazy Gang gets mentioned, two players come up. It's Vinnie Jones is the one, and John Fashanu is the other one.
Yeah.
And I know Fashanu had a very short spell at Villa, didn't he? Under Big Rock.
Yeah.
So, with the Crazy Gang, we were nicknamed the Crazy Gang after we got a bit of publicity. People realised we were maybe getting into the old First Division, playing the likes of Liverpool and Man United. So I don't think we were as mad as people make out. It was just because we were quite successful. I'm sure lots of other clubs around the country did things very similar to us, but didn't get the publicity for it. But yeah, we got nicknamed the Crazy Gang, and there was a few newspaper articles. And to be fair, our manager Dave Bassett kind of encouraged all this press speculation and all the nicknames because it gave him publicity and it gave the team publicity. As for Vinnie Jones and Fashanu, well, Fashanu joined about a year before Vinnie Jones, and Fashanu joined from. And the reason we signed him from Millwall is because he played against us at the old Den at Millwall, and he absolutely battered our two centre halves. And I think they beat us 2-1. And I remember coming in the change room after the game, and everybody saying, "My word, that Fashanu was a hand. We could do with him in our team." And
was he intimidating?
2 weeks later, Bassett bought him.
Was he intimidating?
Yeah, very intimidating. He's 6'3". He's built like superbly well. There's not an ounce of fat on him, and his elbows. Let me tell you now, his elbows are razor sharp as well, and he used them to good effect. He used to intimidate. He used to intimidate fellow centre halves and opposition, definitely. And he's very vocal as well. So he was perfect for the way Wimbledon used to play back in the day. As for Vinnie Jones, well, my story about Vinnie Jones, on the very first day he was at Wimbledon, myself and the goalkeeper, Dave Besson, had to pick this trialist up from some station in some tube station in Wimbledon, in London, and then drive him across the training ground. And we were told that this lad called Vinnie was coming to train. So anyway, we turned up at the tube station, and there's this kid with a training bag, and we shout across, "You Vinnie?" He's going, yeah. And he got in the back of our car, and me and Dave Besson driving across London, and this kid in the back we'd never met before in our lives called Vinnie. He never shut up the whole journey. Yap in our ear about all sorts of rubbish, what he was going to do and what wages he was going to be on, and asking questions about this, that, and the other. And usually, your first day at a new job or meeting some new people, you're a little bit timid, aren't you? A little bit quiet. but not Vinny. He sat in the back, like chirping away like nobody's business, and he kind of never stopped talking in his whole time at Wimbledon. Bassett put him in the team very early on because I think he had an injury to one of our midfielders. Put him in the team. In his very first game was at Nottingham Forest away, and he was so bad he got dragged off at half time.
Oh, I didn't realise that.
He was absolutely shocking. I was injured at the time, but I was watching it in the stand with another player, and we couldn't believe how bad he was. Anyway, Dave Bassett kept faith with him because the next game we were at home to Man United at Little Plough Lane. Home to Man United, Vinny's second game, I think, of his career, and Vinny Jones scores from a header, with a header from a corner. It's the winning goal as we win 1-0, and of course all the papers pick up on it. From the Vinny Jones, the Hod character, he'd just come off a building site about a month earlier, and he's now a first division player scoring against Man United, and his career blossomed from that. He never looked.
Because he was a real hard man.
He was very, very physical. Yeah, he once again the press built him up. They built up this image of Vinny the hard man, and he played up to it big style. But he was tough. He was tough. He could look after himself. Once again, really good physique, about 6'2", really well built as well. Not the quickest player in the world, and not the best technical player in the world. Just a good physical presence in centre midfield, and again, very, very, very vocal. Used to intimidate lots of opposition players just with his constant chat and and threatening. Sometimes it was all a bit tongue in cheek, some of the threats, but it certainly wound a few players up.
And Vinny Jones as well. He had a very successful acting career.
Yeah, he's done remarkably well. Yeah, he had a good football career as well. I mean, he played for Sheffield up here. Would say where I go most weeks now, and he played for Leeds, and he played for Chelsea, and he finished at QPR, I think. So he had an excellent football career. And then he got a film role in, I think it was Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels was his first film with Guy Ritchie.
That's it. Yeah, I think I haven't seen it, but I've heard about it now.
Played a hard man, and he was very. And obviously he's gone on from there, and he's now a top actor in the USA, and of course come back and done things in England. And by the way, he's a top guy as well because he does a lot of work for charity. I know that's a cliche, but he generally does. Yep. So he held a golf day a couple of years ago, and he invited us all down. And paid and I've got a lot of time for him. He's a good lad.
He does come across really genuine.
Yeah, there's that documentary, that Netflix show, isn't there, that everybody keeps watching about him on his farm, but trying to emulate Jeremy Clarkson, and it's quite good. Yeah, it's quite revealing. It's quite good.
I think it'll watch.
Yep.
Also, did you play with Dennis Wise? With Dennis Wise?
Yes, Dennis Wise was there. I was with him for about 4 years. 3 or 4 years. So he just got bombed out at Southampton, and he, as a young lad, he was probably only about 18, 19 when he came, and it took him time to integrate into the side. He was in and out the team for a long time. He didn't really have a role, but then he kind of blossomed. Well, it was one season where he really blossomed, and he played. We played him on the left wing actually, and he just kept coming in on his right foot and putting crosses in. And
he went to Chelsea.
And once again, as I say, he had a great career. Of course, he won the FA Cup with Wimbledon and Fashanu and Vinnie Jones, and went to Chelsea again and had a really good career. I think he got an England cap as well, and he was a decent footballer. But once again, he buddied up with Vinny, and they had a little double act going on for a while. And Dennis Wise could wind people up as well on the pitch. And he was not physically intimidating, but he was very, very kind of in your face and annoying.
Was he quite small, was he, Dennis Wise?
What?
Was Dennis Wise, was he quite small?
Yeah, he's only about 5'8", 5'9".
Yeah, he's only short, isn't he?
Yeah, but he could tackle as well. And he was a little bit I'm going to say a little bit naughty. You know, he had a nasty streak as well. He didn't mind a late tackle or something a little bit sly off the ball, but a good man to have in your team. We used to put it this way: his nickname at Wimbledon was the Fly.
Yeah.
Because he was small and very irritating.
Oh, that's interesting. All right.
So that kind of sums him up.
And also, you know, in 1988, the year after you left, Wimbledon won the FA Cup, wasn't it?
Yeah, of course, yeah. One of my dreams as a kid growing up was watching the FA Cup and wanting to play an FA Cup final. And the year after I left, Wimbledon won the FA Cup. So never mind. But
it was a shock.
Well, it was a big shock. Nobody expects them to beat Liverpool, yeah. But I was really pleased for them. And of course, that season, I'd already joined Villa that particular season, so I'd had my success with Villa with the promotion, first time back into the top flight. So I was delighted for Wimbledon. It was great because a lot of my mates were still playing for them. So yeah.
Let's talk about Aston Villa then. How did your transfer to Aston Villa happen?
So I'd been with Wimbledon from 1980 all the way through to our first season in the first division, where we finished sixth in our first season, which was remarkable. So I'd been there kind of 6 years all the way through. And Dave Bassett was leaving, and a few other players was leaving. Glyn Hodges was leaving. Nigel Winterburn left for Arsenal, and I just thought it was probably time for me to leave and to further my career, because I didn't think Wimbledon would do any better than sixth in the old first division. I thought we kind of peaked, so I thought, you know, it's maybe time to move on. So I was out of contract, and it was a case of just kind of waiting around to see who would ring up and who would want me, basically. And fortunately, Aston Villa, I got a phone call from the assistant manager, Steve Harrison, and he said, "Do I fancy coming up and talking to Aston Villa about a potential transfer?" And I went, "Yes, please. I'd love to. That would be perfect." So yeah, that's how it came about. I was actually dropping down a division because obviously Wimbledon in the top flight, and Villa got relegated that season.
Oh, yeah, of course.
I was actually dropping down a division to play for Aston Villa, but I had the utmost confidence in Graham Taylor to get the club back up into the first division at the first attempt. And to be honest, let's be honest, Chad, you don't turn down the opportunity to play for such a great club as
such a big club, yeah.
Yeah. And I'd come from Wimbledon, little Wimbledon, you know, Plough Lane, with a capacity of maybe 9,000, 10,000.
Compared to Wimbledon.
Yeah, to get the opportunity to come to Aston Villa. I'd already played at Aston Villa that season because we played them in the first division. So I knew what the ground was like. Obviously, I'd seen it on TV as well. So it was a big step for me, even though it was a step down in football terms. It was a big step to leave Wimbledon and join Villa, but I had no hesitation once I knew they wanted to sign me. I had no hesitation in signing for them.
It was a transfer fee.
I think it was something
250,000.
Yeah, it was something like that. Yeah, which don't sound a lot these days, does it?
See, these days that's like pennies.
Yeah, but to put it into context, I think Chris Waddle went to Spurs for about $500,000 or something. So it was an amount of money. It was there was no Boston rulings back in those days. The club had to negotiate a fee, and
things were different then.
Yeah, the Wimbledon manager Bobby Gould wanted to keep me, but I kind of, once Villa were in for me, I'd kind of got my mind made up that I needed to go and needed to leave.
I just don't like the way football's going now, with the PSR and all that.
Yeah, it's the world of big finance now, isn't it? I don't understand some situations. I know Villa have been sailing close to the wind, haven't they, recently? And they've done a few deals to alleviate their financial concerns. So I think they're safe now.
So I'm talking about the next thing now. I was about to say as well. Did you play with Gary Thompson?
Did you play with Gary who, sorry?
Gary Thompson.
Played with Tomo in that first season. That first season, our promotion season. He was injured at the start of the season, and he came back after a couple of months and made an immediate impact. Made a really good combination, really good duo up front. We had Tomo and Alan McAnally for a while, two great front players for us. So yeah, Tomo's a good lad. I every time I see him, which is quite regularly now at Villa, but every time I see him, I kind of remind him that I made him famous because I was the person who provided the two crosses for his two soaring headers versus Birmingham at St Andrews when we beat them 2-1.
That's true.
Yeah, so I always kind of I say, yeah, I made you famous. I mean,
Well, he's a great bloke, Tomo.
yeah, he's a good lad, isn't he? He's good.
I've met him a few times.
Yeah, he's good fun.
And also BBC WM.
Yeah, he does the commentary. We see him most weeks when we go to Villa, and he's at Villa. They've got this wonderful kind of ex-player hospitality. There's probably about 30, 40, 50 ex-players. We take it in turns to go to games, and we see each other and meet up. So it's really good to meet up with the ex-players like that.
So, what's your memories of Graham Taylor? What did you like during your time?
When I first came to have talks with Villa, he was obviously the manager, the first person I met, etc. Sat down with him, and I thought he was a very, very impressive man. Of course, I knew all about him. I knew all about him anyway because of his, or football-wise, because of his success at Watford. Because Wimbledon had kind of copied Watford, the way Watford's team through the divisions. We kind of copied what they did to an extent. So I knew he was a successful football manager. I didn't know what he was like as a person. But I put my faith in him, both as a manager and as the person to get us back, or to get me back in the top flight. And I have to say, over the 3 years that he was manager there, during my time, I thought he was superb. Not only from a football point of view, because I thought his tactics and what he said.
He was a real character.
Yeah, but he could talk for England, couldn't he? Talk the hind legs off. And his team talks used to go on for quite a while, sometimes hours and hours. But I've said this before, I found them quite fascinating because they weren't all just about football. He used to ramble on about different, spheres of life, and it was a bit psychological in the end. And I thought he was just a very, very good man manager. Not, as I say, not just in a football sense, but he kind of looked after. He might want to make sure you were all right as a person. And I'll give you one really good example of this, because in my second season, I got quite a bad knee, 2/3 into the season, and I was really quite worried, how my career was going to go, whether I'd be able to recover. And the physios and the surgeons said, "You'll be fine," but there's always that kind of nagging doubt in your mind. And I think Graham Taylor picked up on that, and unbeknown to me, he actually went round my house when I wasn't there to see my wife and just allay her concerns about just to say,
That's really nice.
Make sure Kevin's going to be, tell him he's going to be okay.
That's a nice touch.
Yeah, don't worry about it, But as you say, they kept it a secret from me until about 2 weeks later, where Graham got me in his office and said, "I think I ought to come clean. I went to see your wife a couple of weeks ago and just explain the situation." So, but that kind of sums up, what a nice bloke he was, basically. He could be ruthless at times, and I'm sure he was with a few of the players whose faces didn't fit or he didn't get on with. But with the players that when you're in the team and playing under him regularly, I thought he was a brilliant manager.
Also, in 1990, the runners-up Aston Villa with Graham Taylor.
Yeah. Well, our first season, as I've just mentioned, we got promotion back to the first division. So second season was kind of consolidation. We didn't up any trees, but I think we left it. It was close at the end. We weren't in any real trouble with relegation, but we were okay. And then third season, we really pushed on. People like David Platt and Tony Daly were really finding
great players
and hitting some form. We signed Paul McGrath as well at the back. We signed Kent Nielsen, Danish centre half, if you remember him. He was brilliant as well. And we hit upon this way of playing with really strong defence, good solid midfield. Cowan's pulling the strings. I was occasionally in midfield as well. Platty making his runs forward, scoring goals. Tony Daly creating havoc on the wing.
Was it not working with those players?
Yeah, there was some good players there. So we had a really good, strong squad. And we just kind of went on this run of games where we all got confident. As I say, we hit on this style of play. It was successful for us. We were strong at the back, and we ended up we ended up runners up in that season. But we were top of the league going for about end of January, February. I remember we beat Spurs 2-0 away, and we actually went top of the league after that game. And lots of people fancied us to push on and win the league.
Was it Liverpool? They won the league that year, wasn't it?
Liverpool won the league that year because we kind of faltered away in the last couple of months of the season. We faltered a bit. Liverpool just kept grinding out results, and they also signed a player called Ronnie Rosenthal, who people will remember. They signed him on loan from Israel, to a club in Israel or somewhere, and he scored something like 12 goals in the last 10 games or something, and really fired them to win the title. But yeah, for a long, long time, I actually thought we were going to win the league because we were a good side, and there was like no stopping us at one stage.
And Graham Taylor, he went on to be the England manager.
Yeah, obviously after the success at Villa, he got the call for the England job, and personally, I was really disappointed that he went because, as I say, I thought he was a great manager and I thought great things at Villa. But when the England job comes calling, you can't turn it down, can you? So he served his time in club football, and it was richly deserved. It was a shame the way it all kind of unfolded for him. I think he was very, very unfortunate, and it was people treated him a bit unfairly.
Yeah.
What was going on behind the scenes, but
you never be forgotten.
Well, he won't be forgotten by Villa fans, definitely. But yeah, it was he could have done better. It was a little bit unfortunate with a few England players who were past their prime, and that it needed kind of revamping. The whole squad needed revamping. But I'm sure everybody's moved on from that now.
So, what was your most memorable moment in your Aston Villa career?
Wow, that's a good question. Well, a couple of things probably stick out. I mean, from a personal point of view, obviously scoring goals is good. So I remember moments when I've scored for Villa. So the one that sticks in my memory, and I've still got a picture of it on my phone, believe it or not, is I scored the third goal when we beat Man United 3-0 on Boxing Day at
didn't realise that.
At Villa Park. So I scored the third goal with a right foot shot into the far corner, in front of a sellout, 42,000, I think it was, or 36,000 Villa Park, wherever it held at the time. Yeah, so that was good. Personally, I remember scoring 2 goals against Birmingham City in a League Cup game as well. That was
well done to you.
Yeah, I'd actually scored in the first leg as well. We beat them 2-0 in the first leg, and I scored a goal. And then in the second leg, we beat them 5-0. So we beat 7-0 in aggregate, and I scored 3 goals, which was quite nice.
What are the goals that you've scored?
Goal machine.
Have been very important goals.
Yeah, a few of them. Yeah. I scored another goal in front of the whole end. When it was the winning goal, we beat Southampton 2-1, and it was like last 5-10 minutes, and the ball was rolled across the box, and I started putting it in for about 10 yards or so. So that was nice. But as a team, I think memorable moments as a team. Obviously, I'm going to say the promotion scenes at Swindon away, 1988. It'll be. When we went to Swindon and we didn't quite know how the results in other games were going, and we drew 0-0.
Yeah.
We didn't know whether that was going to be enough to get us up. When we were all on the pitch, waiting to hear the results, and then the results came through, and there was about 10,000 Villa fans there in an away end at Swindon that could probably hold about 3,000. So I don't know how they all got tickets or how they got in, but there seemed to be thousands of Villa fans, both on the pitch and in the stands. So that was very memorable because it was like mission accomplished for everybody at Villa, and it justified my decision to sign for Villa in the first place, because the aim was promotion,
Yeah.
and we achieved promotion. And then as a team, moving on as a team, so we had some great wins on that season. We're talking about the where we finished runners up. We went to Chelsea, we beat them 3-0 on New Year's Day. We beat Arsenal 2-1 at home as well. So yes, we had some great results against some really good teams.
We're going to watch back a lot of the goals that you scored. Just watch it on YouTube.
They're probably dotted about. They do come up occasionally. Obviously, not everything was televised back in the day, was it? So it's sometimes difficult to find, but they come up occasionally. It's nice. The good thing about social media, lots of people slag it off, but you could be scrolling through Facebook, and then all of a sudden, on this day in such and such a year, something pops up, and you go, "Oh wow, I remember that. That's brilliant." So it's good.
I was going to ask you about the next question. So, what was the reason you left Aston Villa in 1991?
Well, the main reason was the manager didn't want me. It's as simple as that. So Ron Atkinson came in. Josef Venglos was relieved of his duties, shall we say, and Big Ron came in, and he just wanted to change all the personnel. He wanted, or a lot of us old guard, shall we say, although at 27, 28, which is how old it was. I wouldn't exactly call me old, but you know what I mean. Some of the senior players, their faces didn't fit anymore. And there was probably a group of about 6, 7, 8 of us who'd been playing regularly for the last 2 or 3 or 4 years, who he kind of wanted out. And he signed a lot of players quite quickly just to revamp the squad. So I didn't really have a lot to say in the matter. I didn't want to leave, but when the manager wants you to leave, and he's not even playing you, and not even in the first team squad, you kind of know it's your time to go.
How did it make you feel?
I was very disappointed. I was a little bit angry actually, because I got myself really, really fit that season, knowing that the new manager was coming in.
Yeah.
I was ready to play. But it soon became quite obvious that I wasn't going to get a chance in the first team, so it was a bit demoralising, and I just had to kind of keep going and just wait for someone to realise my situation and to maybe want to sign me. And I held it against Atkinson for a long time. Actually, I was really quite bitter about it, because all through my career, from starting at such an early age at Wimbledon, being in the first team, and then coming to Villa, being in the first team, I'd always been a first choice or one of the first choices in the team. And to be just, shunted out into the cold, it was a bit difficult to take, because it had never happened to me before. So I found it quite hard to take, actually.
Because at the time, Ron Atkinson, he was reshaping the team, wasn't he?
Yeah, I understand exactly that. Time heals, doesn't it? And I understand exactly why he did it. And I have no issue with the players coming in. It's just when you're the one to suffer, when you suffer the consequences, it's a little difficult to take. Fortunately, I wasn't the only one. There were about, as I say, about half a dozen plus ex-players and good solid professionals like Stuart Gray, who was the captain, and Derek Mountfield, who was so successful in the couple of seasons before. And a couple of others. So there were senior players who were in the same boat. So it's not as if I was on my own. And we just kind of got on with it, and got our heads down and just kept training, and eventually we all found other clubs.
Good. Some managers, I think, they sort of have their favourites with it. They have their own way of how they want things.
Well, it's understandable. Yeah, they want their own people in. It's just the way of the world, isn't it? So Ron had some money to spend. He was okay. He was given the green light to get these and we're talking established, good professional players. Steve Staunton came in, Ray Houghton came in from Liverpool, Kevin Richardson came from Arsenal. there was some top quality players coming in. So I had no arguments with the type of players coming in because they were beneficial to Aston Villa. But as I said, I was one of the one who lost my place in the squad really because of it. And then, funnily enough, I moved to Sheffield United a couple of months into the season, which was great for me because I met up again and joined up again with my old boss.
He's reunited again.
Yeah, it's my old boss Bassett at Wimbledon again. But then when he left Sheffield United, the same thing happened again because Howard Kendall came in as manager, and he wanted his own players in, and he brought loads of experienced players in. And once again, I found myself out in the cold. But it was easier to take that time round because it had happened to me 4 years previously at Aston Villa. So I could understand it a bit more.
The 90 is meant to be, I think.
Yeah, maybe.
Meant to be.
Maybe a bit of fate came into play.
Yeah. Does he mean your old manager at Wimbledon?
Yeah. And he'd been brilliantly successful at Sheffield United. He'd got 2 promotions in a row to get them back to the first division. And he needed, decent quality players to consolidate their position in the old first division, which is now the Premier League, of course. So yeah, I was back in the team, back in Dave Bassett's first team, listening to everything Dave Bassett had said 10 years previously, back to the old style of play. But because I knew exactly what he wanted, I knew exactly what he was all about, and he knew what to expect from me. It was a very easy transition to make, to be honest. And did all right at Sheffield United for a couple of years. We held our own in the first division. We finished 9th in my first season.
Did a good career there.
Yeah, we did okay. We did okay. We played in the first ever game of the Premier League against Man United. We beat them 2-1. And I was Player of the Year in 1995 at the age of about 31, I think, 32 maybe.
Great.
So I was pleased with that. That was great. So yeah, I had a decent time at Sheffield United. I really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed the club so much. I still live up here. I still live in Sheffield, just on the outskirts.
So I'm going to come to my final 2 questions. So what was it like being a match day host at Bramall Lane, and do you still have a strong connection with Sheffield United?
Yeah, well, the answers to those 2 questions is it's purely because I still live here. So when I just mentioned Player of the Year, I think once you win Player of the Year, when the fans vote for you, I think you get a sense of connection with them, and I was so delighted to win that. So when I finished my career, the club had just built a new stand actually, and they had this big function room. They didn't quite know what to do with it, so they invited me to come down and kind of be a hospitality on the microphone and chatting about the team sheets and what happened last week and what might happen this week and anything really. I had a free reign to do anything I wanted, and it went quite well, and I really enjoyed doing it. And I've been doing it now for nearly 25 years, believe it or not. Sheffield United, and because if you remember back when I was telling you about what I was like as a schoolboy, I didn't really support any local team. So I used to watch Arsenal, Chelsea, and QPR, and I had all their football shirts, and I used to watch London teams. So I didn't really support anybody. So when I finished football, it was actually quite nice to go back to Sheffield United and kind of become a Sheffield United fan and work for the club and get involved, etc. on that side.
So yeah, what do you do as a match day host?
So we meet all the sponsors, different sponsors every week. We go around speaking to people. Then I get on the microphone and I go through the team sheets, but I don't just read the team sheets out. You read the teams out and discuss why he's played and why he might be playing there and why such and such isn't playing and who the opposition are and what their weaknesses are. So just try and make it a little bit of football chat, make it a bit interesting. There's always a couple of ex-players as well that we invite as our guests. So I'll get them up on stage and interview them. And just chat about anything really, just just whatever comes along. There's a bit of a quiz and stuff like that. Just stuff, yeah. But it's just enjoyable, and I've got so used to doing it now. And and I mentioned it earlier. It's great as well now because I occasionally get the opportunity to go back to Villa and be one of their hospitality team with all the other blooming Villa legends that are down there. You know, there's quite a few of them, much more famous than me.
As well as Aston Villa, you got a good relationship with Sheffield United still?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I don't think there's any massive connection, but yeah, it's nice. It's nice to be a part of both. You know, I try and get to as many Villa games as I can, and I was fortunate last season. Actually, I've been coming to 2, 3 between no more than 6 a season for the last 10 years. But last season, I kind of got a bit more into it because the team's doing so well.
I'm a season ticket holder.
Well, it was so good last season. The football was fantastic, and I was really
Champions League nights.
Yeah, it was a joy to come down. So I tried to get to as many games as I possibly could, and I really enjoyed it. And the way they run the hospitality at Villa is something else because there's so many hospitality suites and different areas. Yeah, there's so many different areas that they need. They need about between 12 and 16, sometimes 20 players to get around all these areas and speak to people. So it's great to be a part of that these days.
A bit in the playoff final. I bet you're supporting Sheffield United.
Yeah,
Sunderland beat them.
Yeah, well, it becomes a bit weird when Sheffield United play Villa as well because
of course,
I kind of have to support Sheffield United. Although draw is probably the best result, but I kind of support Sheffield United. There was a game about I'm going to say about 4 or 5 years ago, and Sheffield United came to Villa, and we were 3-0 up. 3-0 up with about 15
I think
minutes.
I remember.
3-0 up with 15 minutes to go, and Villa scored 3 goals to equalise 3-0.
I think that might be. I'm thinking that might be.
Villa Park.
Andre Green got the equaliser.
I can't remember, but Villa Park was going absolutely mental. It was incredible.
Yeah. I watched that game. It was incredible, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah,
it's a good comeback.
So it's good. It's good to be. I'm not going to. I will say I'm a fan of both. You know, I think Sheffield United is my main club, but you know, I really want Wimbledon. I really want Aston Villa to do well when I see him play.
Yeah, see, both clubs really.
Yeah.
You talk about both big clubs.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So we're going to my final question. So, did you have any regrets in your career?
Oh, regrets, blimey. Well, I'm not going to say massive regrets because I was fortunate. Let me say now, I was fortunate to play till I was nearly 35. So, from starting at 16 as a schoolboy all the way through to 35, no massively serious injury, 1 or 2 things, but nothing massively serious that finished my career. So I had no regrets playing wise. I suppose
yep.
one regret is what might have been. And if you remember back, I mentioned earlier, my second season at Villa, I was playing midfield alongside Gordon Cowans, and I got quite a bad knee injury on this right knee here, and my career wasn't in doubt. I was always going to come back, but I got the injury in March, and in the summer of that season, I was told by the physios and Graham Taylor actually at Villa that had I not got injured, I'd have been on the England B trip to Scandinavia that summer, and it was the same trip that Dave Platt went on and Paul Gascoigne went on. So I would have been, a midfielder. Maybe alongside Gazza or alongside Platty on that England B trip. Now, I'm not saying I would have had the career that Platty or Gazza.
England,
but you don't know. You don't know where it leads to, do you? So if I hadn't got injured against Millwall on that day, who knows what might happen.
Things happen for a reason.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, you don't know, do you? But so I certainly haven't got any regrets about any decisions I made because. I think I made the correct decision for me personally at the right time, to leave Wimbledon to come to Villa certainly, and then even though I had to leave Villa, it wasn't my decision. It was a great decision to it was a no-brainer actually, but it was good to go and play for Bassett again at Sheffield United.
I'll read one more good question from the comments. So, who is your favourite Aston Villa player at the moment?
Oh, at the moment, I'm going to say Tielemans. I think he's absolutely fabulous.
Yeah, my shirt over there.
Yeah, absolutely fabulous. He just keeps things ticking over. I think he's. I was going to say underrated, but he's not, is he? Because everyone knows how good he is. But he doesn't seem to get star man every week. But he's just always thereabouts. You know, breaking up play and just keep things
His
ticking.
vision's excellent.
Yeah, I think he's great. I think his distribution is great, and he's got two good feet, and really good.
And a free transfer for Leicester.
Yeah, amazing, isn't it? Yeah, well, that's the thing with the Bosman ruling now. Isn't it? I mean, it's been happening. I say Bosman ruling now. It's been here 30 years, isn't it? But yeah, free transfer. It's amazing, isn't it? I mean, what would he cost now to buy? Maybe 30 million, 40 million pounds.
Something like that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's difficult.
Kevin,
Difficult to pick a favourite player because, as I said, I mean, some of them Villa players are so good, aren't they? They're so good. Rodgers was brilliant last season as well.
Also, Tielemans or McGinn.
Yeah, McGinn's like a fixture, isn't he? He's just there every week, isn't he? You can't leave him out the side. You have to find a place for him.
Well, thank you, Kevin. I really appreciate this chat.
No, it's okay, mate. We enjoyed it. It's good to reminisce and look back. And
I really enjoyed it. And another ex-player that's come on the show.
Yeah, I'll spread the word. I'll tell everybody doing it when I see him all, and
thank you.
I'll get him to have a word with you and maybe get him on.
Well, thank you everyone for watching.
Okay, mate.
If you enjoyed this podcast,
thanks.
See you soon, Kevin.
Thanks.
See you soon, mate.
Cheers. Bye.
See you, mate. See you, Kevin.
Bye.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please remember to make sure to subscribe. If you haven't, make sure to hit the like button. Make sure to give this video a share. And if you're listening via audio, make sure to leave us a good review. That always helps. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you so much, Kevin, for your time.
Pleasure, Chad.
I'm going to wrap up this episode with Villa forever, as always, and up the Villa.